Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. So my name is Mimosa from iGlobal UK in Europe. I'm very happy to have you all here. We have two guides join us today with Peters and Zayab, who will be help us to explore everything you need to know about studying in Australia. So why Deakin University is a top choice and how iGlobal can support you on your academic journey. So what we will be covered today. So how IE Global can support your study abroad journey and study connected through the social media and why study in Australia in 2025, the benefits of studying in Australia and why Deakin University is the top choice for international students. And the final is the question and answer sections. So before we dive in, let's take a moment to introduce ourselves to so we can get to know each other's better. So once we finish introduce themselves, I will be smoothly transition into my section. So hello, Peter. Hello, Zaya.
Hi there, how are you?
Good. Hello. How's everyone?
Okay. Uh, we have the new ones coming. Okay. So let's get started. Wait.
Yeah, so I guess I can just begin in the beginning to let everyone know my role. My name is Riyad Makhdoom. I'm a marketing officer mostly for the South Asian region um, for IEA Global UK and Europe. And it's great to have this presentation and to find out a little bit more about Deakin and Australia in general, studying there. And I already want to say thank you to Mr. Peter for joining us today. And he can introduce himself that way.
Thank you very much, Zaria and Mimosa, for inviting me to this session. Hi, everyone. My name is Peter, and I'm the regional director for Deakin University in Europe. So, Deakin has offices all around the world, and I happen to have the pleasure of being the person who looks after Deakin's interests here in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. So, um, so so why choose IE Global UK and Europe and IE Global certifications, IE Global presents are leading folks in the international educations, how IE Global helps students apply the programs and additional service. So let's get started. So why choose IE Global? So founded in 1922, IE Global has over 30 years of experience in international educations with 40 offices across 10 countries and a team over 250 experts. So they collaborated with 700 universities and colleagues worldwide. So our students' first approach ensure that you receive personalized, high quality support throughout your entire journey. So why do students choose us? So our office in the K locations worldwide, strong partnerships with universities across the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and beyond other countries. And from applications and scholarships to accommodations and aftercare services guidance. Also, we help students of all ages from high school to PhD find the best academic path. So at IE Global, we go beyond just applications. We provide end-to-end support to help you succeed academically and professionally. So why choose IE Global? So you might to be wondering how do we ensure that the highest standard in international education? So IE Global is recognized and accredited by leading international organizations, ensure that our services meet strict ethical and professional standards. Some of our key accreditations, including like American International Recruitment Council. Wait. Okay, and the British Boarding School Network Approach Agent, International British Boarding School Network Approach Agent, and International Education Associations of Australia. And also we are international certifications ensuring compliance with the high recruitment standards, professional international education recruits certifications, and British Council's members aligns with global education standards, including IELTS and student support services. So by choosing IE Global, we are partnering with globally recognized and trusted organizations that uphold the highest education industry standards. So our locations, so our global presence means we can support students from diverse backgrounds, no matter where you are. So we have offices in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, Nepal, Pakistan, and India. So through our location offices and strong partnerships, we help students, different education systems, and find the best study opportunities abroad. So I Global UK and Europe, a leader in international educations. We build a strong network with top universities, education groups, and industry leaders. So our goal is to offer students comprehensive guidance from the students planning to career success. So here, what we do to support our students. University admission briefing, postgraduate studies sections are inclusive the University of the Cambridge visit and experience days. Also, we have the in-person onboarding and student surveys, student support, a communicated event. Also, we regular updates and insights from partner universities, help students with registrations, aftercare services, on students' events like festival celebrations together in the UK. So keep you connected. So we are not just about applications, so we help you through every step your journey from enrollment to career development. So how iGlobal helps you apply to the full study abroad programs? So firstly, academic background assessment. So we're helping you find the right programs like Foundation, International Year 1 or Pre-Masters or UJ Master or PhD. Also, we ensure a smoothly transition to your target university. We will be tracking recommendations letters and document reviews like personal statements and CVs, academic transcripts, and the language scores. Also, we help you prepare for the university admission interview or precast interview coaching. Keep you update your progress for the application submission and tracking. Also, we assisting with course or COE and the others with us guidance. Also, we go into streamline the process and help you secure admission to your dream university. So we understand that study abroad involved more than just getting acceptance letters. That's why iGlobal provide additional support, like help to you find the safe and convenient apartment in the different countries like UK or Australia. Also, we can book in airport pickup and setting down in support, make you arrive stress for free. So enrollment to getting you through the university registrations and the course selections. Also, we help you assisting with your transitions to further studies. For after the career development support, internship, job applications, and networking. So with IE Global, you will not just applying, you're preparing for successful future. So So many of our students have successfully proceeded to top universities like Russell Group institutions in the UK and the leading Australian universities with mentor academic performance to ensure a smooth transition from pathway program to full degree courses. So our team works closely with the university to provide ongoing support so students can thrive academically and beyond. So you can see we got the KCL, UCL, Warwick, Manchester offers, and Bristol, Sheffield, Glasgow, and Durham. Also, we got the Australia's Melbourne, ANU, Monash, Queensland West, also UTS of Deakin University. So if you are looking for the students study in abroad, so reliable and successfully way to IE Global will be help you to guide you every step on the way. So you can follow us, the social media and the community engagement. So stay connected with us through our social media channels. We regularly share updates on admissions, scholarships, students' experiences, and industry insights. So follow us on WeChat, Little Red Book, Xiaohongshu, and Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So to stay informed about the last opportunities at the Deakin University and other leading industries university worldwide. So now turn to Peter.
Thank you very much, Mimosa, for that. Hi, everyone. My name is Peter, as I introduced myself at the beginning, but I know some people joined in a little bit late. So quickly, my name is Peter, and I work for Deakin University. However, I'm actually based here in Europe, so in the same time zone as you, I suppose. So, and my remit for Deakin University is to look after its interests here in Europe. Right. And Deakin University has many offices around the world, and I have the pleasure of being here in Europe to look after their interests. So in the next few minutes, what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about Deakin University, touch on some of the popular courses, and then expand on why we are a little bit different. And let me explain why I'm saying that. For all of you, there are lots of opportunities these days and lots of opportunities. Even when you look at Australia, there are 40 universities in Australia, and you can be assured that wherever you study in Australia, you will get a very good standard of education. And Deakin is no different. However, what I would like to expand on is why we feel we are a little bit different, and so that if that then is what you're looking for, you might consider Deakin as one of the options from all of the options that's available to you in Australia, right? So let me first start by telling you a little bit about Deakin University. So Deakin University's main campus is in the city of Melbourne. Now, Melbourne is the largest city in Australia now. It used to be Sydney, but now it's Melbourne. And Melbourne is also, a lot of times, it's actually in the top 5 of the most livable cities in the world, right? So it's a fantastic place to live. Of course, I know that you're going to study in Melbourne, but then again, many of you will be in Melbourne for at least 2 years. So this is going to be your home. So it's also important that you live in an environment that you're comfortable and safe, and a wonderful place to call your second home, perhaps. So Melbourne is a fantastic choice. But then we do have 3 other options. We have a campus in a place called Geelong, which is about 50 minutes by train. And then in Geelong, we have 2 campuses, one called Waterfront by the ocean, hence the name Waterfront. But then we also have a much larger campus in a place called Warren Ponds. And then we have a campus in a country town called Woonaball, There are only limited programs offered in Bunapur. But then also, I don't know if this is of interest to you, Deakin is also the #1 ranked university for online programs. So we have been teaching online for about 30 years or so. I know online didn't exist 30 years ago, but it was initially by correspondence. But since then, Deakin has moved to the online space, and that too is an opportunity for you to consider, right? In terms of the university, it's a large university, and we offer around 300 different degree programs, quite varied from arts and education to all the way to medicine. The only programs we don't offer are dentistry, and we don't offer pharmacy, and one other. Yes, we don't. In terms of engineering, we don't offer aeronautical or automotive engineering, and we offer pretty much everything else. Right. So you have a large variety of courses to pick from, both at undergraduate as well as postgraduate studies. All right. The next slide, please. Yeah. So following on from that, so what's on the screen are perhaps some of the most popular subjects for, especially those students, those of you who are based in the UK. We understand that you have many opportunities in the UK. And for whatever reason, you might be looking at Australia as an option. And at Deakin, these are some of the courses that are popular with those students who have perhaps completed their studies in the UK and now looking to move to Australia for their postgraduate studies. Exercise and sports science, Deakin is ranked #1 in the world for exercise and sports science. And if you know anything about Australia, Australia is a sports mad country. So that means there's both good expertise in terms of learning about exercise and sports science and sports management too, but also many career-related opportunities, right? So that's a good one to look at. Nursing too has become very popular in Australia because there's a massive nurse shortage in Australia. So that also bringing a lot of students to Australia for nursing. Commerce, in the sense, not really commerce as such, but certainly the Bachelor of Commerce, but also business analytics is a popular course. In terms of arts, mostly the creative side of things, primarily because Melbourne is the creative capital of Australia. There's a massive art and design scene in Melbourne, and that too is why people are coming to Deakin to study an arts-related area. And then I won't go through all of them, but another area that's very popular is psychology, especially at master's level. So we have two main courses in the Masters of Psychology. There's the Master of Clinical Psychology that allows you to become a psychiatrist at the end. That program is like medicine. There's only a very small number of places. So not everyone, unfortunately, is able to get a place in the Master of Clinical Psychology. But the university has recently introduced another course called Master of Counseling, which doesn't have the same type of requirements. So that too might be an area that you might be interested in if you have studied psychology as your undergrad. And then if I could go to the next slide, please, Mimosa. Yeah. So now I'd like to touch on why we feel Deakin is different. Don't get me wrong, as I said right at the beginning, wherever you study in Australia, you are assured of a fantastic quality in terms of the education that you receive. At Deakin, we do that, but also we are aware that for many of you, it's not just about the studying and getting a good education, but you also want to ensure this study that you do in Australia will lead to fantastic employment outcomes, right? So Deakin in the last 15 years or so has looked at that little part and made sure that we have mechanisms in place at the university for you to have better opportunities, better probabilities, if you like, in terms of your graduate employability. And let me touch on just 2 or 3 things on how we ensure we do that. It's not a guarantee that you will get your dream job, but it's a case of the university providing you with the knowledge and the tools to actually get that dream job. And it's also not just about getting a job. It's really about you planning for your dream job. Like, say, for instance, let me use an example. You might be studying, say, engineering, say mechanical engineering, and we want your motivation to be not just getting an engineering job, but your dream job. And your dream job might be to work for, say, Airbus or Boeing or whatever, that type of thing. So that's what we guide you towards. So again, let me touch on 3 things on how we do this. Number 1, for many of our programs, the industry engagement is built into the curriculum. This means, unfortunately, you don't have any choice. You have to do the industry engagement to graduate with that particular degree. And we do this for a very good reason. What we find is many international students, especially, they're interested in industry engagement, but when they come to Australia, there are so many other fun things to do, they neglect the industry engagement. And then when they graduate, they really struggle to actually, find employment. So that's why it's compulsory for many courses, for many of our courses, that industry engagement is compulsory, so you have to do it. The second way we do this is to encourage you to take up some optional, meaning these, if they are not compulsory, you have the choice whether you want to do this or not, but we strongly encourage you to take up these options. And one of those options is it's a facility called Deakin Talent. Deakin Talent is an award-winning graduate career service. Now, every university in Australia has a career service, and they offer things like help with your CV writing, help with how to attend an interview, how to do a good interview, that type of skill, and opportunities to sign up for job boards and things like that. And we do all of that, but Deakin Talent does more. Let me explain. Let me pick up just 2 things that Deakin Talent does, that is additional to the CV writing skills, the interview skills, etc. One of them is where Deakin Talent will help you from the beginning to brand yourself, right? So you are all, I'm sure, aware what a brand is. We are constantly bombarded with different brands. It might be Sony, it might be Coca-Cola, it might be Apple, etc. And some of them have good brands and some of them have bad brands, right? So Deakin Talent helps you to develop your own brand, because that's really important from a social point of view, but also a career point of view. So they will work with you individually on little things like, say, for instance, if I ask one of your friends to describe you, and their description of you is really your brand. So if they say, oh, Peter is always late, then that's not a good brand. So then Deakin Talent will work with you on how to adjust to get to developing your brand. So that's one area. And second, Deakin Talent is for life, meaning once you graduate from Deakin, even if you're 50 years old, now you are in a job and you want to move up the ladder to take the CEO's role, or you want to move into a different industry, you can set up a meeting with Deakin Talent and set up a meeting with a career coach who will listen to what your interests are and then provide you with a path on how to get there, right? So they might suggest, okay, so if you want to take the CEO's job, you might have to do gain expertise in this area, that area, and you might have to do these courses, etc. So they will provide a coach will sit down with you one-on-one and plan your career for you. And as I said, Deakin Talent is for life. So I'll stop there and then go back to Vimasa.
Thank you, Muted. Actually, yes. So, firstly, thank you, Mimosa and Peter. Mimosa for giving a great background of IAE Global and what we do and how we can help and guide students. And thank you, Peter, for your very insightful presentation, all the knowledge you gave us about Australia and Deakin in particular. I think what we can do as well is any of our participants, if you have any questions, but you might not feel comfortable to ask them directly, you can just write your questions in the chat. In the meanwhile, I have a few questions that maybe Peter can help me answer and just clarify a few things. It's very interesting. So let me just.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, the first one, I think, just to go maybe step by step, is I we heard a lot about employability and everything like that as well. And I was just thinking if you could walk us through any foundation or any pathway programs that you might have that might help some students gain admission a bit more easier into Deakin.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. So Deakin University has one recognized pathway, and that's Deakin College, and they are on the campus of Deakin University on two of our campuses. So if you don't quite meet the entry requirements to come in, you can study at Deakin College, and then there's a seamless transfer into either first year or second year at Deakin University. So that's the recognized pathway. However, there are many other foundation programs, like, say, for instance, NCUK, NCC, as well as some others that are not automatically recognized. However, if you have done a foundation program in the UK, what we would like to do is have a conversation with IAE and submit your application so our admissions office can assess your foundation and then provide you with an offer. So again, to clarify, if you were to not meet the requirements of the university, you can apply to Deakin College again with IAE's assistance. However, if you have completed a foundation program elsewhere, you can then again have a conversation with IAE colleagues and submit an application so our admissions office can look through the foundation program you've done and then provide an offer. Hope that answers the question.
Great, thank you very much. Very insightful in that. I guess the next question is that as you spoke, that Deakin has a few different campuses across Australia. Can you tell us a bit about the student experience about the campuses, and maybe if like a campus is more, maybe one campus is a bit more towards undergraduates, maybe one more is postgrad, if you could just give us a bit more detail with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the largest campus is Melbourne, and Melbourne has most of the programs on offer. However, those programs that perhaps need space in terms of facilities, etc., many of them are offered at our Geelong campus. So, for instance, nursing and medicine is offered in Geelong because we need a lot of space for teaching, and that those courses are offered in Geelong. Engineering, another popular area with students, engineering is offered both in Geelong as well as Melbourne, right? So, and in terms of the actual cities, there are some differences between the cities. One is cost. Obviously, Melbourne being the city location, living expenses, especially accommodation expenses, are going to be definitely higher than, say, if you were to live in Geelong or Warrnambool, right? Warrnambool being a country town will be the cheapest. However, in terms of like food expenses, it's the same whether you live in Melbourne or in Geelong or Warrnambool. Accommodation is going to be the key difference. And of course, living in the city of Melbourne, there you'll be exposed to many more things very similar to, say, for instance, if you live in London, then you have a different experience of the UK, say, compared to maybe if you live in a smaller, say, city like Leicester or even Manchester, right? So that's very much the same in Australia.
That's great. That makes sense. Thank you for clearing that out as well. And I guess just going with that, then we can maybe discuss a little bit about scholarships and what advice you might give to students who are applying for Deakin, but to go through a bit of scholarships. And are there any
Yeah,
factors of improving the
yeah,
chance for funding?
yeah, yeah. So there are two main types of scholarships. One type is one that you don't have to apply for, and these are offered through the faculty that you're going to be studying at. Let me use two examples. One is if you're studying a STEM subjects, so science, technology, maths, etc., engineering, etc., that particular faculty automatically offers a 20% scholarship if your grades from your most recent qualification is just over 65%, right? So if you meet that 65% or above, you don't have to apply for a scholarship. That faculty automatically grants you a 20% scholarship. So that's one. The second type of scholarship is one that you actually have to apply for. And with that second type, there are two options. One is the Vice Chancellor Scholarship, and this is a 50% scholarship. This is awarded to be eligible to apply for this. You have to have 85% or above from your previous qualification. And the second part of that is there are the Deakin International Scholarships, and these are 25% scholarships. For that, once again, you only need to meet around, say, a 70% mark from your previous qualification, right? So the first type, you don't have to apply for. The second one, there is a one-page application form that you need to complete to be eligible for, to be as part of the application process for the Deakin Vice Chancellor Scholarship and the Deakin International Scholarship.
That's great. Thank you very much I mean, that there's a lot available in that sense. So that's good to know, for students. I'm sure that'll help them out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Zaria, maybe if I could further to what I said about the scholarships. So these are what I just explained are for undergraduate and postgraduate, but postgraduate up to masters by coursework. If you are thinking of doing a research degree, like a PhD, for example, PhD scholarships are fully funded, meaning the university will provide a full tuition waiver if you're selected as a PhD candidate, and it will also offer a stipend, a living expenses stipend to all PhD students. So just to clarify, if you are chosen as one of our PhD candidates, your tuition fees is zero, and the university will also provide a living expenses stipend for the duration of your PhD. Thank you.
That's great. I mean, and it actually links on to my next question, which is a bit more about, for students considering research degrees or PhDs. You already explained a bit about the scholarship side, but just for maybe academic support, like how does Deakin support them in finding research supervisors and maybe creating a strong research proposal, things of that nature?
Yeah. So that all forms a part of applying for a PhD. So applying for the application process for PhDs are very different to undergraduate and masters by coursework degrees. So let me explain how that works. So for all PhD applications, except for those related to business and law, the first thing you need to do is put together a research proposal, and this is a 1 to 1.5 page proposal on the topic that you're passionate about, and then how you suggest you would go about doing the research. So if you like the research methodology, and that's what needs to go on this 1 to 1.5 page research proposal. So you write that is the first step. And then you need to find a supervisor who you feel has the expertise and the passion to support you as your supervisor. And you do this by, we have a search engine on the Deakin website where you can just go to the search engine and just put in some keywords. Like, say, for instance, if I'm interested in doing a PhD and which is related to cybersecurity, I would just type in cybersecurity onto this search engine, and it will provide you a list of all of the academic staff who are researching in that area. And then what you need to do is, if you're provided with, say, 5 people, you'll need to go into each of the different, the links to the 5 people, and then do a bit more reading about what their particular interests are in cybersecurity. And then once you narrow it down to maybe a person, a supervisor, you need to write to them attach your research proposal, and then in brief, explain in the email why you would like to research this and why, and asking them if they would like to be your supervisor. If the supervisor reads your email and reads your research proposal and is interested, they might request you or invite you to a Zoom session. You'll have a conversation with them. And if the supervisor says, yes, great, I would love to work with Peter as one of my PhD students, that's it. That means then you can approach IAE and submit an application to do a PhD at Deakin University. And we will, of course, do some the visa checks and so on. But if that all works out fine, then you definitely have a place at Deakin University. As I said before, your tuition fees will be waived, and we will provide you also with a stipend, a living expenses stipend for the duration of your degree. If, however, you're wanting to do a PhD related to business or law, this faculty has a different process. You don't have to find a supervisor. You just need to approach our colleagues at IAE and submit an application to do a PhD. However, again, you will need to provide a 1 to 1.5 page research proposal and a brief explanation of what this research is going to be. And then IAE will submit the application to the university. And once the business faculty receives this, they will have a look at it. They will discuss among themselves as to who is the best person, the supervisor, to supervise you. And then they will come back to you saying whether they'd like to accept your application or not. I hope that's clear. So for the business faculty, you can submit an application with the research proposal, and the supervisor will be selected by the faculty. For all other degrees, all other faculties, you have to first do some work in finding the supervisor, and you have a conversation, and then you submit the application. I hope that's a little bit clear.
Oh, thank you very much. That really clarifies a lot, and I think it's very good for for potential postgrad PhD type of students who want to study somewhere. That gives them a lot of feedback and help, especially with the scholarships. That's very good.
Yeah.
And I think
Zaria, sorry to interrupt. Can I just add something else, please? So for those of you who are, of course, given the PhD candidacy places are fully funded, it's competitive. So you have to be a very high caliber student to land one of those opportunities. And let me quickly touch on how you could become one of those, successful candidates. If you are currently, so supervisors will always look for someone who has some kind of research experience, because that actually makes you a better student, and it's also less work for the supervisor if you already know how to do research. So if you are currently doing an undergraduate degree and you're thinking in the future, I will do a PhD, a really good idea is to do some research now. So you have some research experience before you apply for a PhD. And number two, try to get a publication from your research, because there's no better evidence than a publication to say you have experience in doing research, and two, your research was very good. If you have a publication, and when you apply, you can say, I did some research and this is the publication, that means you have a very, very good chance of landing a PhD, a fully funded PhD. Right? Okay, thank you. Sorry.
That's great. No, thank you for adding that as well, because that brings another aspect into it. A lot of students and counselors even would not really know about that. So that's great. Guess just like my final questions in that way is, maybe some advice you might give to students who are preparing to study at Deakin, and maybe some tips about when they actually land in the country in Australia, something like that is for people to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best advice I can give you is to ensure you embrace all of the opportunities that's presented to you. Studying in Australia or the UK or the US, for that matter, is not just about going to class, passing exams, and at the end of the day, having this certificate in your hand. Because you can do that at home, wherever you are from. You can certainly do that in the UK. But if you're coming to Australia, what I would advise you to do is do more than that. There'll be many more opportunities for you to um, engage and embrace that things that are local, that are Australian. So, because the more you embrace things outside of the classroom, the better education and learning you will receive. Especially if you're thinking, after I finish my degree in Australia, I will make use of the 2 years or 3 years or 4 year post study work visa. The more you embrace Australian culture and you get used to the Australian way of life, the enhanced probability of you finding work in your related degree area. Because the thing is, even if you're the best student in the class, you all know that it's the interview that that will get you the job, or they say, sorry, you weren't selected for the job. So at the interview, if you can show and highlight to people that you are, not only were you a very good student, but you have embraced Australian culture and values and understand the Australian work environment, you will have a better chance of getting that job. Right? So that will be the advice that I can provide to anyone studying abroad, whether it's the US, UK, or Australia. Do more and make sure you fully utilize all of the opportunities around you, especially outside of the classroom, because that will become what enhances your experience whilst you're studying, as well as what you meet, in meeting your objectives after your studies, once you graduate. Hope that answers your question, Daria.
No, Peter, that's great. It actually, it links on to one more thing I might ask, which is, like some key steps that international students can take, during their studies to improve their chances to secure full-time employment afterwards. You touched upon that during your presentation a little bit, but I thought maybe we could dive into that one last time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said during the presentation, the university will have some opportunities for you that are compulsory. And remember, I mentioned that some courses have industry engagement built into the curriculum, right? So that's one thing that would aid you in making sure you're employable well into the future. So that's one. And second, the university has many other optional opportunities like Deakin Talent. And there's also another one called ZAID. And this is especially created for international students, where the university understands that many international students don't have any work experience, right? So this program is put in place to give you some understanding of Australian way of life, the working environment, etc. So there are going to be many other opportunities that you are encouraged to do. So make use of those opportunities. And third is what I explained just a few minutes ago. see if you can embrace Australia, meet lots of Australian people. Say, for instance, there will be many people from your own country, perhaps, but try as best as you can to also make friends with Australians, other nationalities, etc., because that will definitely improve your communication skills and more so allow you to build an understanding of how people in Australia, their approach to things, and how the work environment, etc. And that will all help. All of that will help you in terms of your employability in the future.
Great, Peter. Thank you very much. These are just the basic questions I had off the top of my head, but very insightful. I'm not sure if anybody had any other questions. I'm not too sure. I don't think so, but that's why I wanted to kind of get a broad
Yeah,
overview from
yeah.
you. Just going questions.
Zara, the other thing I wanted to do was I'm happy, given I'm based in Europe and in the same time zone as yourselves, as well as the students, I'm happy to share my WhatsApp number and my email address, if you don't mind me sharing that, because I'm more than happy to receive text messages from students if you have further questions and if you need a little bit more information, whether it's about Deakin or even just studying in Australia. I'm happy to do that. Is that okay for me to share the contact details?
Yes, of course. I think that's totally fine. You can write it in the chat or
Yeah,
do it.
okay. Yeah, I've written it on the chat, so I'll just share it. Um, Okay, I've just shared it. So yeah, everyone, if you have any questions, just drop me a WhatsApp note, and then I can either reply to you via chat or just give you a call back. Right, happy to receive questions about Deakin or even in general about Australia. I myself, I'm Australian and I've studied and lived in Australia for a very long time, and actually in several different parts of Australia. So I can certainly be a resource for you if you have general questions about Australia, studying and living in Australia.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Peter. And for any other guidance or any other help, we're here and we'd love to collaborate with you even more in the future. And thank you very much, everyone, for taking part in this presentation. I'll pass it back to my colleague, Mimosa.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Ziya. And thanks for valuable presentation that gave us more information about studying the Deakin, studying Australia, a lot of more opportunities to choose the PhD. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact with IE Global. You can check the admin at ieuk.net, send email to us. Also, you can follow us the social media and the website. So if you have any questions, can ask in the IE Global, so we can help you to answer all the questions about the study abroad, the programs. Thanks for everyone to join us today. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Ziya. See
Thank
you
you.
next
Thank you,
time.
everyone.
Thank
See
you,
you next
everyone.
time.
See you next
Take
time.
care. Bye then.
See you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.